Let me, without further ado, introduce the first of our speakers for our launch event today. So she did. And the first speaker that I have for you is Sarah McAnallen. Now, Sarah is the CEO of McAnallen. And Sarah runs a design-focused business that creates products with the purpose of making life easier for individuals with mobility issues. The inspiration for Sarah's business actually came to her while studying product design at Ulster. Sarah had been working closely with her mum, who'd actually had a stroke when Sarah was much younger, to design a range of products, including a sock aid, which is a beautifully designed product that allows people with restricted ability to put on their own socks. I mean, we take that for granted, but this was a problem and Sarah solved it. And basically out of this, McAnallen was born. Sarah has won countless awards and pitches, including the IOD Overall UK Student Director of the Year. She's now graduated and she's working full-time on her business. And you join us today, I think, from Liverpool. Is that correct, Sarah? Sarah, welcome.
Just for Liverpool. Thank you so much, Sarah, for the introduction. So yeah, I'll get stuck into it. So yeah, as you said, my story started back at university. In first year, one of our projects was to redesign a household item, and it could be anything at all. And I decided to redesign a sock aid. The reason, as Sarah said, we had a sock aid in the house was because Mum took a stroke, so she lost the use of her left-hand side. Fortunately, she was able to walk in, but never regained the full use. After then getting arthritis on her right hand, it meant that we had certain products around the house to help her. And a sock aid allows you to put on a sock in a sitting position without needing to bend down. The reason I decided to redesign it was because NHS products are typical, very medical, very clinical. They're either made from white plastic or metal, and they truly are, and I store it within the home. My mum would use the product and then hide it away from anyone who could come over to the house, hoping nobody's seen it. But my mum doesn't see herself as having a disability, and these products made her feel like she had. She summed it up perfectly when she said her house should be a home, not a medical clinic. So I got to work in university, redesigned the product to make it softer, more comfortable, easier to use. At that stage, that was it. Handed it in, no intention of doing anything further. But when I went into second year of university, the opportunity arose to do the Belfast Enterprise Academy, and at the end of it, you get an OCN level 3 in business development. And I thought, yeah, perfect. Always wanted to know more about running a business. On my mum's side, funny enough, there's, I think the last time I counted, 13 or 14 businesses. And my granny would have always been very vocal about entrepreneurship and would have said, why put money in someone else's pocket when you can work for yourself? So I've always wanted to know more about it. So I done the programme, used the sock aid as it was the last project I had done. But then I realised that there was a market. And I also realised how passionate I was about the subject, being a product designer. And I decided, all right, okay, let's see where this can go. So then the year after my placement year, got a full-time job as normal, but on evenings and the weekends I was tinkering away at it, redesigned the product so it could be mass produced. I tweaked the shape, the materials, looked at my branding, what did my brand look like, but what did my brand also say? And at this point, I met an amazing woman named Nancy Brown, who became a mentor to me. She helped me to connect me with people where I had issues, but also she became someone who I could speak to if I had any worries or issues. She then got me in touch with Chris Shannon from Ulster University, and at that point, that's when I really got to access all the support that you had. And that was help with everything from a marketing plan, legal advice, helped me to understand how to protect my idea. And then I also was able to set up focus groups to test the product and get feedback. But where they really helped me was with competitions, which I really recommend competitions for students. 90% of them are usually equity free, no strings attached, which means that you can put money into your business without worrying about someone else taking a piece of the pie. They were huge for me, as you could have some accelerator weeks within these competitions, which meant you got to meet people from all over the UK or beyond. You were able to build a network. But competitions are great as you get to really understand how to sell yourself and the business. When you're doing a pitch, you only have 5 minutes to really explain who you are, what you're about, and why someone should invest in you. So you really are made to understand every aspect of the business because you're going to get some questions around it. Along with that, some competitions went well, some didn't, but I always got something out of them. For example, at one competition, a lady came up to me and I got a contact to speak to the NHS procurement team in Northern Ireland and got a meeting from that. And there's absolutely no way that meeting could have happened. I would have knocked down doors upon doors to chance my arm at that conversation. But I also want to touch on the aspect of having to put yourself out there as a young entrepreneur, because it is unbelievably scary. You know, if you told me in first year I'd be on stage pitching in front of 500 people, I'd be like, see you later, no, I'm out of here, no way. But I also want to say that great things only come from being outside of your comfort zone. The lady I spoke about earlier on, Nancy Brown, she helped me get over my fear of public speaking. She used to bring me to small events, but would have secretly organised for me to speak at the event. But didn't tell me until I turned up and had a little bit of a heart attack on stage. But what I'm trying to say is that every business has their strengths and their weaknesses. Every person in business, that is, sorry. But that doesn't mean that you have to be brilliant at anything. It's good to understand what you are good at, things you aren't as good at, so you can either improve upon those areas or outsource them or get someone else to do them. So back to my story. Final year of university was probably the year I pushed the business. I made a decision that I was like, right, okay, I'm going to do this. Not going to get the full-time typical graduate job. Went a little bit crazy with it, done 6 or 7 competitions in final year, decided to do a trade show in Birmingham 5 weeks before my final hand-in. The trade show was great. It allowed me to do the final testing. I built great contacts within the industry, got pre-orders for the product, and got to test it with individuals with more severe disabilities. I also want to touch on what it's realistically like starting a business in university. I know some people who did have their concerns, saying, you know, I could be potentially throwing my degree away or putting it at risk if I'm trying to do this while I'm studying, which I completely understand. These people just have my best interest at heart, but I just want to say it's absolutely achievable. But you have to be willing to do the work on the weekends and the evenings, and to just be very particular and precious about your time. But that doesn't mean that you can't go out and see your friends. I still went out at least once a week, lived in the Holy Lands, you know, did miss the odd night out to get work done, but overall it can work. You know, if I can come out of uni with a business, a degree qualification and things like my Edge Excel award, then absolutely anybody can. So after university, I went on, built my website, launched the product and properly started into the world of entrepreneurship. Unfortunately, 4 months after I launched the product, I don't know if you've heard, world pandemic hit, which I had absolutely not accounted for on my first year business marketing plan at all. I had loads of different plans, whether it be launching in shops and pharmacies, to outsourcing manufacturing, to launch my kids range, to launch the product in different colours, and some of those things did happen, but not all of them. But outside of the pandemic, every business has its setbacks and challenges. Even if there wasn't a pandemic, it wouldn't have been smooth sailing. For example, in May, our website became infected with a virus, and for 4 weeks, I had no website. Every time we tried to rebuild it, it's being attacked again. As far as I'm aware, that's not pandemic related. It's just things that you have to deal with. But as an entrepreneur, you have to have the mindset of, okay, that's not working. What now? How am I going to fix this? How can I adapt and move forward? And to not dwell on what you can't do or what didn't go to plan. But personally, it allowed me to explore new marketplaces, to push me to be more creative with the business. And it could have possibly worked out for the better. So yeah, that's me. Currently one-man band, working from home. I outsource aspects of the business, but don't have many employees. And I'm currently working on getting ready for Christmas and expanding my product range soon. So yeah, thanks for listening to me and the story of McAnallen so far.